Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I had someone ask me in my comments the other day in a video I made discussing protein, hey, what do you think about this protein powder? What do you think about muscle milk? What do you think about these? And what I want to break down to you guys is that we really shouldn't have personal opinions on the quality of a product that you have reviews and consumer reports and the FDA and everyone else to measure and quantify this stuff for us. Our personal opinions really shouldn't matter. We shouldn't worry about that. What we need to look at is the weight of the evidence in selecting a product like that. We shouldn't have personal opinions. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. And now, largely guys, I want to break down here, this is going to apply really to America because every single country has its own economy, it has its own laws, it has its own regulations, and therefore a lot of what I'm going to say here may or may not be applicable to you in other countries, and I just don't have time to research your individual country. But what I will say, based upon my experience when I started this channel, I was living in the UK. I was there for over 3 years. A lot of people forget I've actually been back in Texas longer than I had a channel in the UK at this point. So just so you guys are aware, most of my channel time has been spent in Texas. The vast majority of my videos were made in Texas, not the UK. But in my experience there, I don't think any protein powder produced in the UK is really drinkable. I don't fully understand what their laws are, but every single protein shake that I tried that was made in that country either gave me diarrhea or tasted horrific. Like, I mean, literally diarrhea every single time I drank it. So I don't think there's any real laws in place regulating what they put in them, or there's a problem with your dairy over there. Like, for example, I found back in Texas I could drink milk and dairy just fine, but I just showed severe signs of lactose intolerance when I drank milk in the UK. I couldn't drink the milk there without getting an upset stomach, gas, diarrhea, things like that. Same thing all their protein powders did, but I don't get the same problem with milk here. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't have an explanation. So you guys have to figure this stuff out for yourself. But when we're talking about this stuff in the United States, we need to remember, you just need to be looking at quality of this stuff. And this is even in deciding if you need a protein shake. Not everyone needs protein powder, and I want to make that clear. Not everybody needs protein powders. I've already broke down in a video the other day kind of who gets the most benefit out of them. I don't think every one of you out there lifting needs protein shakes. All right? And when I say need, meaning there's a benefit, meaning I don't think you're going to get any reason to actually have to buy them. Because, you know, people will talk about economics and everything else. Well, they're so cheap. Well, really, I can't find any of these cheap quality brands. When I look online, the prices are not what people claim they are. I'm paying this amount for X amount of grams of protein. Really? Because I can't find it. Some of them, they'll name the company, and I'll go to Amazon and look at the bulk packaging from that company, and it's like 3 times higher what people are claiming it is. They're no cheaper than what I'm already buying. But as far as this goes, people need to remember the supplement industry isn't as regulated as the food industry. And when they step in and regulate something, there's a big problem in supplements. You guys need to remember individual supplement companies are shady. Most of them are shady. They engage in bad business practices. It's just an industry based upon that. So what I would say is that unless proven otherwise, assume that a protein is garbage. Right? Because they're not regulated the same as our food. You know, we rely upon things like the FDA, we rely upon the, whatever, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, or whatever it's called, to regulate the quality of our meats, the USDA. Right? They regulate the quality of a lot of these foods, and they come in and they give different ratings and everything, and they regularly inspect these plants. Right? They regularly inspect the places where these foods are processed here in the United States. Regularly. And they are watched very closely regarding a lot of things with food. Dietary supplements don't have the same oversight. They're largely free from oversight. So you have to just assume that given the ability to do so, most supplement companies will produce a piss poor quality product. Try to make it taste good and crank it out to you at an over hyped up price. Or in order to beat the competitors, they'll come up with the cheapest garbage. And that's what you need to look for, is that a lot of the budget-oriented ones usually get hit pretty hard by the FDA when they go in. And so that's what I would say. Rather than have an opinion, don't have an opinion. Look at what the FDA has to say about an individual company. Look at what Consumer Reports has to say about an individual company. I mean, Consumer Reports a number of years back went and tested like 30 protein powders for heavy metals, contaminants, things like that. And they listed With each company, the random sampling they found of how much lead, arsenic, things like that were found, and other heavy metals were found in each of those brands of protein. And so I would say use their chart and assume, unless there's been a newer consumer report done, that that's an accurate piece of data. If you had a company that had a fair amount of lead or arsenic in their protein shakes, you probably don't want to be drinking 4 or 5 of their shakes every day. Don't buy it. It's real simple. Go look at what Consumer Reports does. Or before you buy from a supplement company, go look at what the Better Business Bureau has to say. Look at what the FDA has to say. Because there's a lot of companies you go look and say, oh man, this looks like a pretty inexpensive protein, looks good budget because they sell it bulk, until you do a search for it and find out that the FDA has hit their plant and cited them multiple times for either cleanliness and production problems or for mislabeling their products, meaning they're turned out to be only 50 or 60% of the amount of actual protein that's supposed to be in it, of legitimate protein, not just some free-form amino acid or some creatine or whatever they dropped in, right? And if the FDA has gone in and cited and fined them for this, then you're not necessarily getting the same price on protein. You might be looking at it going, oh man, this is 30% cheaper than this other brand, but then you look and the FDA has hit them for only having 60% of the protein it's supposed to have in it. So you're actually still getting a worse value than whatever that other brand was for your money, right? And you have to look at it from that perspective. So the problem you run into is that the quality, the quantity, all that stuff is there, but you need to keep up with any individual company. It's buyer beware. The supplement industry is a largely unregulated industry, and it is buyer beware. So what I would say to people, you need to, before you start saying, hey, I want to try this protein powder out, you need to go see the consumer reports for it. You need to look at what if the FDA has inspected any of their places before you buy this product and put it in your body. Right? It's your job to do that due diligence for any of this crap that you buy. And the majority of it, there are problems. Over 50% of the protein companies out there, there's a problem somewhere when you look. And so what you need to do is, if, okay, they've gone and the FDA hit them for this, did the FDA go back later and make sure they were doing it right? And if they did and they're doing it right, then okay, you can possibly disregard that, but you need to understand you're dealing with a company that's willing to cut corners, and that corner cutting could equal, again, underdosed product. It could equal higher contaminants in there, right? At the end of the day, you've got to weigh out, are all those contaminants and stuff you're getting worth whatever convenience you think you're getting from the protein? Because okay, you think it's slightly more convenient than some other source of protein, because that's all it is. It's a food source. Protein shakes are nothing more than a food source. It's a source of protein. They don't have magical benefits and properties that you don't get from other food. So if there's stuff being put in it that if consumed long term or in large enough quantities is going to risk your health, like too much lead or arsenic, then you need to step back and say, okay, well, do I really need this product? Can't I just go get something that the USDA has regularly inspected? Some other source of protein? Yeah, that would probably be a wiser idea in that case. But that's kind of the point. We don't need to have personal opinions on the quality of products when there are organizations that go out there and test their quality independently. Now, don't look at lab reports sent to some company that the manufacturer sent out, because they can doctor stuff. All right, that's no different than in-house. They selected a product that they sent in and paid for testing on. Well, how do you know that if they didn't send it to 3 different places and 3 different products, so they got the one that they tested how they wanted it out of their different batches, and that's the one they advertised for you? No, you need random, where other independent people come in, whether it's the FDA, Consumer Reports, someone else, and test their products. Right? That's what you're looking for. And in a true capitalist system, companies like Consumer Reports serve a valuable purpose. That's what you need to be looking at. Then on top of that, if you're trying to make up your mind between several different companies, then your personal opinions can come in. You can go based upon taste. Well, you know what? My personal opinion on how something tastes isn't relevant, is it? Because we have different tastes and preferences. So my opinion doesn't matter there. The only thing that matters is your opinion. You're the one who's going to have to drink the crap every day. So it better taste good to you. So that's personal opinion. Then you can look at individual ethics of it. You know, look at it and see, does this company engage in bad ethics? Do they sell testosterone boosters? Do they sell a bunch of worthless products? Do they put fake natties on the cover of their product pretending like that will do something higher quality for the product? Usually right there, that's a dead giveaway that they're wasting money on false advertising rather than keeping the product at a better price for you. So you might be paying more for the advertising, and it's popular because they've put all these fake natties on the cover, and you're getting the same quality product that someone else sells for 10% less because they spent a lot more on advertising. So that's something for you to factor in also. Look at the ethics of those individual companies and decide for yourself, based upon that, what you are willing to accept and what you won't, right? And that's, for me personally, that's a big deal. If I see a company that actually advertises, false advertising, that their products are proven to gain muscle or burn body fat, that's already, that company's a lying company and I don't want anything to do with them. Do they slap a bunch of fake natties on the covers? Some guy who claims to be natty who's on a gram of tren a week, right? Are they putting that person up there and advertising them and using fake natties to sell a product? Well, for me, that's the sort of stuff that say, man, I don't like this company. That's where your individual opinions matter. But you know what? Those are individual opinions, aren't they? Those are individual opinions. So you have to look at that and decide for yourself if you think their business practices are acceptable to you when deciding if you want to buy from them or a competitor. At the end of the day, it still comes down to, this is an optional luxury item. It isn't necessary for most people's ideal goals. Even though I'm protein overfeeding, I only throw the protein in because I'm trying to consume almost excessive amounts of protein because it's really useful for me in satiety and muscle retention while I'm cutting and things like that. If it wasn't for that, and if I just enjoyed eating more chicken, I would just eat more chicken, right? Or just more Greek yogurt if I felt like eating more Greek yogurt. So I have them there just as an alternative protein source because of the large amount of protein I'm consuming right now. But you know what? If I was in a different stage in my training or diet or anything else, I might not use them at all. So again, also weigh out, when you're selecting these, do you actually have a legitimate use? I don't mean a need, because there's never a need for a protein drink. I want to make that clear. There's not one person out there who I think needs one for their goals. Are they useful for your goals? That's what you need to decide. Is it even useful for you at this point? And it might not be. It might not be. You might actually find it easier and taste better to reach your protein through another source, in which case it becomes a moot point, doesn't it? Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.